To show how these capabilities come together, let me walk you through something live. For most of our financial history, owning a share meant holding a piece of paper. Whoever held the paper owned the equity. That worked at small scale, and it broke catastrophically at large scale. Today, stocks are moving on chain for the same reason money and everything else is going digital. The real question is, what structure wins when they do? What I'm about to show you is our answer, and it brings together several things that, until now, have lived in separate worlds. A real publicly listed security, qualified custody at a federally regulated U.S. trust bank, and self-custody on-chain entitlement that you hold yourself, assembled in real time on one platform. To our knowledge, no one has put all of these together on a real listed stock live until today. What you see in front of us is my logged in account at BitGo. I'm going to place an order to buy 100 shares of SpaceX, our tokenized entitlement representing SpaceX shares that are held at BitGo Bank and Trust. Once submitted, the trade occurs on the open public market at competitive pricing through our clearing relationship. The trade is executed, and now we have an additional 100 shares of SpaceX, represented as Go SpaceX tokens, in my account. BitGo Bank and Trust has a fiduciary duty to hold the underlying share on your behalf. I can always direct BitGo to sell the underlying shares on my behalf using the order type of my choice. From here, I can hold it, move it amongst my own wallets, or, as I'll show next, I'll put it to work as collateral. So let's go apply for a loan. Instead of selling my SpaceX position, I will borrow using it as collateral. For this demonstration, I'm going to choose to borrow SoFi dollar, a stablecoin issued by SoFi Bank in partnership with BitGo. I'm going to borrow $20,000 and submit my request. BitGo Prime evaluates the loan, pricing the collateral against current market conditions, and then returns these terms. All right, the loan is approved. I now need to pledge X amount of Go SpaceX as collateral, and it looks like 203 is required. And then I'm going to enter my password here and pledge it. We'll receive our SoFi USD shortly as a deposit into my account without ever selling the underlying position. And we've now received our SoFi USD. Let's take a look at our balances. Here's that SoFi dollar that we just received. All right. So I think what we've done here is pretty amazing. In just a few clicks, we've orchestrated a complex financial transaction across 3 different financial systems. First, we access the capital markets to tokenize a stock purchase in real time. Second, we put that tokenized asset into qualified custody at a regulated U.S. national bank. And third, we issued a loan against that asset in the form of a regulated U.S. stablecoin from SoFi. That's the core Go Stocks loop. Buy, hold in your own wallet, and borrow against it. Real ownership made usable. Go stocks are entitled to the full economic benefit of the underlying share, including corporate actions, dividends, voting, and more, so that holding a Go stock never means giving up the rights that come with owning the real thing. And this is just the foundation. We're building towards a much broader set of capabilities on top of it, off-market transfers, letting enterprises move Go stocks directly to one another over BitGo's Go network, permission DeFi, so self-custody holders can access on-chain liquidity and lending without routing through a centralized exchange, and a global token layer extending the same real ownership model to non-US holders through synonymous tokens, all while keeping a regulated custodian in the chain, never sacrificing the entitlement for openness. Today's demo is buy and borrow. Tomorrow, it's a completely on-chain equity platform built on real ownership from the ground up. I want to note that demonstrations are for illustrative purposes only and do not constitute an offer to sell or a solicitation to offer or buy any security. The availability of these capabilities may be subject to applicable securities laws and regulatory approvals.